back to another live stream. We are just out here at our homestead, White Pines Homestead. And for all of our returning viewers, thank you guys for joining us. I always appreciate you guys. We're gonna do the same stuff we always do, and we are just going to hang out on the homestead, have a good conversation, chat with you guys, hang out with the animals, and yeah, I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. It is currently Monday, so for those of you who are back to work for the week, I hope it's going well. And yeah, it's another beautiful day out here, although it is blustery and windy. So if you guys can let me know in the chat if that wind starts to interfere with the camera, and we'll find a new spot to go hang out. I think over here is okay right now. But it's a beautiful day, enjoying a coffee. Darlene from Galloway, how you doing? I'm actually planning to go into work today for a couple hours. So I'll probably leave in about an hour. We'll have about an hour of live stream, and then we're gonna go to work for the day. Rosa, Linda, how are you doing? Happy Monday. We are just hanging out on the homestead. We've got some goats hiding behind me here. And yeah, we're just keeping it chill on the homestead today. Probably gonna keep this live stream a little shorter than normal, maybe just an hour. Maybe we'll go for a walk in the woods, we'll see. But gotta get up, move around, and then yeah, I gotta carry on with the day. My wife and kids just went to their swimming lessons, so they'll be gone for a few hours, and then yeah, we're here. So I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Today is what's called our Loop Day, L-O-O-P, Loop Day. So the grocery store closest to us, every second Monday we go and pick up all their expired groceries. I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, so I won't be able to do any of the lifting myself, but I'm gonna go get some help, ask a friend, they're gonna come with me. We're gonna load up my truck, and then I'll bring it home, and the wife and kids can unload and feed the goats. It should be another beautiful, jolly day. We've started putting some feelers out to people. We're looking for a donkey for the homestead. So we've sent out a couple messages. There's actually an auction about 5 hours from here. And so we're gonna keep an eye on that auction this weekend. See what happens there. Maybe it'll make sense, maybe it won't. It's a year-old John, meaning that it's a castrated male goat. A castrated jack is called a John. And so yeah, we'll see. And Dark Knight says, best of luck. How you doing, Dark Knight? Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. If anyone has any questions or concerns or anything they want to talk about specifically, by all means, let me know. We are here to chat. We're here to have a good time. So if there's anything specific you guys want to talk about, I'm all ears, eyes. I guess it's not all ears because y'all can't talk. You can only text. So we've got a chicken underneath the house right now. And Dark Knight says he's got exams. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend, but hey, study hard and you'll ace it. What subject is this, high school or post-secondary? Is this university or high school, Dark Knight? And MK Knife Making says hi. Guys, if you guys want to see some cool videos about a young lad making some custom knives, go check out MK Knife Making. Go check him out on YouTube. We are just chilling with the animals here. Dark Knight says university. What subject, Dark Knight? I also I have a bachelor's in civil engineering. That's what I took in university, was civil engineering. And I know the feeling of exam season. Zoology. Well, if there's anything you need to know about goats on your exam, I got you covered. And Invictus says, congratulations, you must have worked quite hard for that. Thank you, Invictus. It was a grueling set of years. It's a pretty advanced program, civil engineering. I did that line of work for about 10 years. And then now I'm in business and, of course, homesteading. And Dark Knight, I know all about that exam procrastination. I was the king of procrastinating. Invictus says, many nights in the library and many weekends missed out on, I'd imagine. You know what? I wasn't the best student. I was very good at exam taking. But that was when I was younger and less mature, and there was probably more nights spent at the bar than there should have been. But, you know, it is what it is. I still walked out of there with my degree and got a job in the field and did that for a few years. Yeah. I cannot be the guy to, you know, instill good studying behavior on you, because I was not a great student. I will admit that. Just, you know, I'm gonna pull the whole Einstein card and just say I was naturally good at getting the grade, and so I skipped a lot of class, didn't spend a lot of time studying, and was just really good at taking tests. Take care, Dark Knight. And Invictus says, you walked out on top, and remember, C's get degrees. You know what's crazy? In civil engineering, I'm up here in Northern Canada, and so we have to take about, it's like 8 courses per semester, so 16 courses a year. And in your final 2 years, of the 32 courses, if you get more than 6 C's, is it C's? Below a 60, if you get below 60 in 6 courses, it counts as a fail. So if you get like 7, 50, and 59%, you have to at least retake one of them. That counts as a fail. I think we used to call it D's get degrees. 6 D's get degrees. If you got a 7th D, you had to redo it. And Invictus says, you are on a beautiful plot of land. Invictus, I believe this is your first time here. Welcome. We are out here homesteading. I've got 156 acres. I'm off grid, and the lake, it's actually a peninsula. The lake goes all the way around me. Why don't I give you a little tour? It's a little windy today. That's why we're hiding over here. But welcome to my homestead. 156 acres off grid. The lake goes all the way around the property, all the way around. And if I show you the fields on the other side, it is a beautiful piece of land. I might even take you for a quick little walk in the forest, although we're trying to stay close to the Starlink. I got my fields back here. Of course, we got chickens roaming around everywhere. We got goats hanging out by the house and a dog. My cow is somewhere. Let's go see if we can find my cow. I've also got some rabbits over here. I got rabbits, cows, chickens, ducks. I had pigs, but the pigs are all well, we're picking them up today, actually. They went to freezer camp, and we should get them back today to load up our freezer. Let's see, where is Gabby? Is she out in that field or that field? So here's some of the fields, guys. It's beautiful out here. She might even be in the barn. Yes, she is. We'll hang out over here. We'll hang out with Gabby for a hot minute. Hopefully I don't lose the Starlink here. But yeah, here's the barn. This was the real benefit of civil engineering, was you take away with some structural integrity and you learn how to build some stuff. This barn was actually on another property. It was caving in on itself. The base of it had rotten out. So it had a floor. The floor was completely rotten out and about the bottom foot of the building. But it's a nice tall barn. And so I tore the building down, cut off the bottom foot all the way around and rebuilt it. So that's why you can see a seam back there. You can see this seam. That's because I had to take my skill saw and cut down the whole length of the building and put it back together. And I can tell you, from someone who's built a number of sheds and farm buildings, tearing a building down, salvaging it and rebuilding it is a lot harder than just building a new building. It takes a lot more time getting all those puzzle pieces to try to fit back together, reframe up the timbers, cut off the rot, a lot of work. And Invictus says, it's really an American dream you got going there. Well, thank you. This is the Canadian life. The Canadian life is the American dream. So yeah, Carlos says, so you're on an island. So it's not an island, it's a peninsula. The water goes all the way around except one road in. So there's one road in and then the lake all the way around. If I show you guys out towards this way, on the other side of the far tree line, the other side is the lake, and the lake goes all the way behind and all the way back. And there's one way in up there, which is super, super nice for a homestead because it helps limit predators. I do have to deal with coyotes and wolves, but mostly only in the winter. In the winter, they'll come across the lake, so then they can access the property all the way around because they can come across the lake. But for the rest of the year, the spring, summer, fall, when there's no ice, what I do is in the spring, I go into the bush and I let off a few kabangs in the air. That's usually enough to scare all the coyotes and wolves away. They get back on the ice, then the ice melts, and we are good. We are safe for the rest of the year. The only other thing we got to watch out for, there's some foxes, some weasels, lynx, smaller predators like that. Sorry, I got a chicken down by my feet. Let me show you the little chicken. It's trying to figure out how to get in here, except it doesn't realize it's not, I don't think it's gonna fit. It's got to go around. The gate is open. The gate is open, but it's confused. He's probably gonna end up just flying over. Can you ice fish there? Absolutely. Although I was just chatting with someone today, and they were asking me the same question in person. They were saying, you know, do you ice fish out on the lake? I do sometimes, but I don't have a shed or a shelter set up out there. And so I'm literally just, I go out there, I auger a hole, and I sit in front of my hole with my fishing rod, and I hate it. It's miserable. First, I get bored too quickly. So I do not like just sitting in a hole. When I'm fishing, I like to go and hit, you know, I'll spend 15, 20 minutes in one area, and if it's slow, I'll go to a new area. If it's slow, I'll go to a new area until I find a nice hole where the fish are biting. When you're ice fishing, it's pretty well cut your hole and sit there and wait. And that is not for me. And Techno Viking says, nice hat. I see a cowboy. I give a like. Thank you. We got the cow in the background and a chicken just chilling in the barn. So, yeah, whenever I'm wearing the cowboy hat and there's not a cow in the background, people try to say I ain't a real cowboy. And for some reason, people think you need to have a horse to be a cowboy. But why do you need a horse to be a cowboy? Aren't you supposed to have a cow to be a cowboy? Come on, guys. And Invictus says, owning chickens for someone living on the grid, what would be the cost? How many chickens do you need for it to be economically viable? That is, what's the sweet spot for making it work economically? So up here, you'll get about $5 for a dozen eggs. Our chickens right now, we're laying about, oh man, my one chicken caught a mouse. Sorry, guys. This chicken here just has a mouse in its mouth. So if you can feed them with mice, it's a lot cheaper. I don't know if you guys can see that. That chicken is out there mousing. And the rooster wants a piece of that. And so for the eggs and chickens question, so chickens cost, they cost us, we've got 14 chickens. The 14 chickens cost us about $30 a month to feed. Now, in the winter, they're going to stop laying eggs for a couple months because up here it gets so cold. But at $30 to feed them, and we're making $5 a day, after the first week, they've paid for themselves in eggs. And so the next 3 weeks, they are now making you money, or at least food. Now, the real answer gets a little trickier because it depends where you live. When you live up here in the far north in Canada, you need to have an insulated coop and heat it. So that's going to cost you money. It's part of it, you know, the electricity and just the supplies. It'll cost you, you know, about $800 to build a nice coop. So you're probably, realistically, if you can keep your chickens alive for the first 6 months, they also don't lay eggs. It takes 6 months for them to lay eggs. Well, 4 to 6. And so the first 6 months, they're costing you money. The next 6 months, you're breaking even. Then the next year and so on, you're starting to make money. Honestly, you do it for the experience. You don't do it for the money. If you're trying to do it for the money, you're not going to come ahead. It takes one neighbor's dog, one weasel, one aggressive hawk, and you're going to lose some chickens and you're going to be set back. But you're pretty well at least going to break even, and you're doing it for the fun. You're doing it for the eggs, but you're not making money doing it in the long run. It's tricky. Unless you got 1,000 chickens, it's tough. And Techno says, that's a real descendant of the T-Rex. And Carlos had said, you could ride a bull. And I hope that answered your question, Invictus. And yeah, I hope that answers all your questions there. I'm missing Gabby in the back here because I got excited by a chicken eating a mouse. So here's the thing you got to pay attention to. When you've got a farm like this, your animals will inherently, my dog and my chickens, they're going to be eating the mice. And by eating the mice, they're going to pick up some parasites. So you do have to give them some, it could be clover, it could be yarrow. Some plants are particularly good for trying to reduce parasite load in your animals. And then, of course, on like things like the goats and cow, I give them veterinarian medicine. But yeah, something to keep in mind, something people don't really want to think about, but you do got to keep the parasite load down. When we're talking parasites, we're talking like little baby worms that can live in their stomachs. Sandra says, nothing like free-range chickens, and Derico saying hi. Hey, Derica, how you doing? Welcome back to the chat. And yes, the eggs, when you're free-ranging your chickens and your ducks, oh, look, it wants to show us the mouse. I don't know if this is too gross for you guys. We're going to show this. This chicken right here is straight up going to eat that mouse. I don't know if this is too gross for the live stream, guys. Is this fascinating like I think it is, or is this gross? All the chickens want a piece of it. But yarrow is a type of plant. Yarrow is a specific type of plant. I probably have some out here. It grows in a lot of North America, and I believe, oh, they're fighting. They're fighting for the mouse. This guy's trying to down it in one gulp so that the others don't get it. And Deep Get says, Heart from India. Welcome, my friend. And Taro says, thank you so much for taking the time to educate us. Anytime. We are out here live streaming 3 to 5 days a week. I also post long form and short form videos from my off-grid homestead. I do a lot of mushroom foraging content as well. So guys, just keep asking. And Carlos says, people eat on YouTube. Sorry if that makes you lose your appetite. Erico says, only learned recently that chickens are also carnivores. Yes, they actually will cannibalize each other if they're overcrowded, if they don't have enough space, and if you have too many males. The males will fight each other, and if they draw blood, they see red and they go after it, and they will eat each other. So you really need to nip that in the butt. We've never had it happen because we try to keep them very spaced out, and we only keep one rooster for every 10 hens. It's pretty important if you don't want cannibalization to go on. And Invictus says, bro, do you do mushroom foraging? All the time. I have a few different tutorials and guides on my YouTube channel, long form videos of different edible mushrooms. So for sure, check that out. On my property, we have violet chanterelles, also known as pig ear mushrooms. We've got lobster mushrooms, boletes, morels, puffballs, chicken of the woods, hedgehog and scaly hedgehog, a lot of chaga, and some others. There's a ton of different mushrooms. What I try to do when it comes to mushrooms is I try to learn about 2 different edible kinds a year and add it to my brain bank. There are 100 different types of mushrooms out there, but some of them are poisonous. I do have some Amanita muscaria, which is a hallucinogenic mushroom out in the forest. I also have some destroying angel amanitas. One mushroom is enough to kill a grown man, and so you really need to know your thing. You don't want to just go and pick and eat anything. One single mushroom can kill you. It causes your kidney and your liver to shut down and stop working. Super, super dangerous. I have some in the forest. And Carlos says, what kind of pew-pew do you use? I've got 4 different pew-pews. I have a Winchester Cooey 22 caliber for small game, as well as a 410 shotgun for small game. And then I have a 12 gauge shotgun and a 300 Savage. So the 300 Savage is my hunting rifle. Same with the 12 gauge. The 12 gauge is for ducks, particularly ducks, geese, things of that nature, grouse. The 22 is for also grouse, wild hare, and squirrels. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Four different rifles, kind of 4 different purposes. And Sandra says 44 and a 9mm here. Up here in Northern Canada, we are not allowed handguns. Even right now, there's a freeze on handguns. You're not allowed to purchase them. If you have a handgun, you can get an exemption to only use it at a gun range, not even on private property. It's pretty wild. And Sandra says, come up on my property. Is that an invitation or a threat? Followed by, I have a 9mm, come up on my property. And Jamaro says, that is wild. And Stout Sprout had said, do you cultivate them or let them grow wild on your property? I let the mushrooms grow wild. I would like to grow some lion's mane, but maybe down the road. I haven't got there yet. But yes, I would like to grow some mushrooms, but right now I have 156 acres. About 130 of that is forest. And so we're just harvesting the wild mushrooms in the forest. And lion's mane is absolutely delicious. It is a very good one for your brain. Apparently it helps repair neurological pathways. And so, yeah, lion's mane, fantastic mushroom. Pretty well all of the mycologists agree that lion's mane is the goat of mushrooms. And Jamora says, lion's mane is so amazing. It's worth cultivating and growing it. It has amazing neurological benefits. That's exactly what I'm saying, my man. I take them by pill, so I'll consume them by pill. And I notice a difference. When I'm consuming lion's mane mushrooms, this is a weird one, but I'm going with it anyway. It might be placebo effect, but for me, I really find it heightens my sense of vision. And so when I'm on a steady dose of lion's mane mushrooms, I notice the greens are greener and the blues are bluer. It seems like everything's in a better focus and just more vivid. And so I like taking it when I'm hunting because I find that I catch out the corner of my eye, I'm going to catch grouse a little sooner, a little sharper. It's a little easier to see that movement and distinction in the bush. But that could be placebo. I don't know, but that's my thing. Aiden says, thinking of getting chickens, have nothing yet. What do I need? First, I would consider getting ducks. I have both chickens and ducks. The chickens are fantastic. I mean, I got one right here, but the ducks are a little easier. What do you need? Well, you're gonna need a feeder. That can be built very simply. You can use some PVC piping, a nice channel with an elbow that you top your food in there, and that's gonna make it so your food doesn't get rained on, and B, you don't have to be topping it up every day. 2, you're gonna need a water dish. They do need access to clean water. So you generally want to have that maybe elevated off the ground so that they're not splashing in it to keep it clean, something that they can just dip their head in and get water. If you live in a northern climate like up here, we're in the far north in Canada, for the winter you do need to have an insulated and heated coop, but it needs to maintain ventilation. So usually what you'll do is you'll run vent ridges along the top or along the roof. Basically when they're breathing, they're emitting humidity. But when it gets really cold, up here it gets to minus 45. And so when it gets that cold, the frost from their breath, if it can't get out of the building, it will stick to their bodies and they can die. It is pretty wild up here. And Carlos says, I want to see live bacon seeds. Carlos, I don't even know what a live bacon seed is. I had pigs, but I sent them to the butcher. I'll be getting them back today. So I maybe later I can show you some bacon. And Invictus says, make a fried, not chicken sandwich with them. And Stout Sprout said, that's interesting. I might try to cultivate it next year. Sandra said, no threat ever. Just my right when you thwart me. And Jamora says, yes, I used it as well. Lion's mane we're talking about. It helped me stimulate my focus with vision. I've never considered the vibrance of things, but your eyesight is very on point. Yes. And Jamora also said, every day clean water. Ducks are so cute with their water. And oh, dang, that makes sense. Insulation is very important. Sandra said, let's talk chickens. Jamora said, Sandra really wants chickens. What you got to do for chickens? Sandra said, me either. Aiden said, awesome, thanks. Ducks, eh? What do they need? So the ducks, I just put a heat pad. They're hardier. So ducks have thicker plumage. They can handle the cold a lot better. And so all I do for them, I don't insulate. I'll go show you guys. Why don't I go show you? Let's take a little walk. We'll say bye to Gabby and the chicken for a second. Bye, Gabby. Chicken over there, chicken over here. We're going to leave you guys. We'll come back. Let's go see my ducks and chicken setup. So we're going to go right up to them, but this is what we're looking at. On the left is the log cabin I built for my ducks. Now, you don't have to do something so fancy, but I was just having fun with it. On the right is my seasonal chicken coop. That is not my winter coop. That is my spring, summer, fall. Let's go right into them. I got to access it from out here, so bear with me because I'm trying to hold a coffee, hold a phone, and open a gate. Let's go see the ducks. Oh boy, spilling coffee. Let's set that down right there for a hot second. Okay. We're gonna go see the ducks up close. We'll go right in with them. And I'll show you kind of the difference between the ducks and the chickens. The reason I say I like ducks, you know what, we'll do it from the outside first, just because I don't want to open that gate. So here are the ducks. I'm scaring them away as I'm walking up on them from the gate. But they got the pools. I got a couple little kiddie pools for them, filled up with the garden hose. And then this is their drinking water. So this water here is for them to swim around and play in and bath. But you see how murky it gets. I put this water out this morning. So this is already murky after like 4 hours. This is their drinking water. And the reason I cut little holes in the plastic is so they can put their head in there, but they can't swim. Let's go get a close up on them because I got to get out of the wind. It is a little too windy, so we're going to go in there. But the ducks are nice because they all stick together. The chickens, they spread out, which is fine. The only problem with the chickens, if you have a yard in town, because they can fly, you're going to have to clip their wings. I don't clip my chickens' wings because I live in the middle of nowhere. I have no neighbors, and so I don't have to worry about that. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to sneak in here, try to partially close this door so the goats don't come in. Let's sneak out of here. Okay. Here's one of my roosters. There we go. Okay, so here are the ducks. So the duck, for their feeder, I use a garbage can with some pipes in there. These pipes, they just curve down towards the bottom, and I fill that garbage can full of food, and then I only have to top that up like once every 3 weeks. So it keeps the rain out, super easy, and yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to put my coffee. A man without his coffee is nothing, my friends. Okay, so here are the ducks doing duck things. They're having a swim. I'm trying to hide from the wind because it is very windy out. But the ducks are cute because they all stick together. The chickens, they spread out a little everywhere, which is fine except for when you're trying to put them away at night. When you want your chickens to go back into their house at night, you know, if you leave them out, there's a good chance a skunk, a weasel, a fox, something is going to get them. So you want to put them away in their shelter at night so that they're safe. The ducks, they all stick together and they're very good at putting themselves away. And if they don't go to sleep and you want to put them away, you just walk behind them and they all stick together. They herd very easily. So they're very easy that way. They lay almost as many eggs. So where a chicken might lay 280 eggs in a year, a duck is going to lay around 240. But the duck eggs are bigger. And so 240 bigger eggs, I mean, I like them more. They're a little creamier, a little tastier, and they're bigger. Oh boy, are you okay, little duck? You like flopped right out on your face. That was embarrassing for the live stream. I am sorry that happened to you, my friend. Shake it off, shake it off. There you go, there you go. Do the Jane Fonda. He's trying to say nothing happened, I'm just going back in. That wasn't embarrassing at all. I didn't fall on my face. Nothing to see here, guys. I'm just dancing. That was a dance move. I am now mating with another duck or trying to drown it. I'm going to turn you guys away, give them some privacy. That is some mating behavior. He's doing the business, but y'all don't need to see it. Buddy, get off of her. We're trying to have a family rated. There you go. See, just like most men, he's already done. It was that fast. There you go. Doing his little waddle, shake it off, shake it off. He's feeling proud. He's feeling like he just accomplished something important today. And anyway, sorry guys if I missed any important conversation during my rambling. But yeah, anyone have any questions about ducks or chickens right now? I'll show you inside the log cabin I built. So the log cabin, this is the log cabin I built, the Waddle Inn. It's got a little ramp here so they can just walk right in and out. Just go up the ramp, hang out, come out whenever they want. I have a little fenced in yard right there if they want to go in or out. And inside, here's the inside. So metal roofing. I just framed in some trusses, A-frame style, and some support logs across the sides for the trusses. Nice and simple log cabin build. That's a heat pad. So they do have access to a heat pad for when it gets colder, and some ground level nesting boxes. The other nice thing about ducks is they don't fly. And so they're easier to maintain, easier to keep. If you live in a city or an area where you've got a smaller yard, you don't have to worry about them getting out to the neighbor's yard. because they're bigger, they can't squeeze out of the fencing as easy. So if you look at all of the ducks can't squeeze out of this fencing. The chickens can go over or under, but the ducks, they're easier to contain. So when I want the ducks to go into the other yard, I just take them for a little walk and they come out with me. But when I want to keep them in here, I have a little more control. And they're adorable. Look at these guys. A little bit about them. So kind of like dogs, how there's many different types of dogs, there's many different types of ducks. So the white one is a Pekin duck. That is your standard farm duck. That's your standard egg layer right there, the white one. That's like what most people get. Then we've got some apple yards. These guys here, those guys are apple yards. Over there, that one there, the brown one is a buff Orpington. And all of these guys are Ancona ducks, Ancona. There's a few different other types. There's Indian runner ducks. There's Muscovy ducks. There's a handful of different types of ducks. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. They're gonna have different temperaments, maybe lay different amounts of eggs, different temperature ranges that they're designed for. But I hope that answers your questions. And Sandra said, shoot, I'd live there. And yes, Sandra said they grab them on the back of their necks. Yes, the chickens do the same thing. The ducks do as well. The chickens, it feels a little more aggressive when the roosters do it. The roosters will jump on their back, pinch them behind the neck and hold them down. So do the ducks. But I don't know, man. They don't have as sharp of a bill, so it doesn't feel as aggressive. It still seems aggressive, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Ducks being ducks. And making sure I didn't miss anything crazy. Do you let them free range, Sandra asks? I let all the ducks and chickens free range. Right now I have the ducks in this fenced in yard, but the chickens are all over the place. So yeah. And Cosme Garcia says, do duck eggs cook the same as chicken eggs? Yes, you just got to cook them a little longer because they're a little bigger, but absolutely exact same way. If you want scrambled egg, you want omelet, you want easy over, sunny side up, it's the exact same. It's the exact same, just a little bigger. Constant says, hi from Nimbia. Well, hello, Constant. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Northern Canada. Jamora said, I took care of ducks and chickens while in Hawaii. As you can imagine, they don't need heat pads. Yes, up here in Canada, we need them for the winter. Our winter up here gets as cold as -45 for about 3 weeks of the year, January, February. It is nasty. It is nasty. -45 is nasty. And Tora says, how does the whole fertilization process of the eggs occur with the ducks? How do you know which ones to eat versus not? Or whether there's a baby duck inside? So, as long as you're collecting the eggs every day or every second day, you can assume that if you have a male, a drake with your hens, or your ducks in this case, if you have a male with them, the eggs are probably fertilized. He's out here doing his thing all day. That's the boy's job, is to get busy with it. And so you can assume your eggs are fertilized. However, if you're collecting them every day and then you're putting them in the fridge, the embryo isn't going to develop. So you're never going to get more than maybe a speck of a blood dot, if that. If they're sitting on the eggs and brooding them, if they're trying to hatch them, then yes, an embryo will develop. But if you're just going in there and you're collecting the eggs every day, the eggs actually need very specific circumstances. They need to maintain a certain temperature, like 37 degrees Celsius, for 28 days. And so, assuming that it's not really hot out, 27 degrees, the egg's not going to develop, and especially if you're collecting them and putting them in the fridge. David Snow says hi. Hey, David. And Barlight Broker says, thought you were Wrangle Star for a moment. I know who Wrangle Star is because I watched some of his videos, but I am nowhere near as charming as Mr. Wrangle Star. But I'm going to say thank you. Jamora says, phew, that's cold, man. Jamora said, that temperature sounds hard to help with all the animals. What do you do to take care of the heat for all the animals? Do you have multiple heat pads / good insulation? Yeah, so for the ducks, what I do is in that house, I line the walls with bales of straw, so all the way around the outside. That's going to stop any drafts. And then I have a heat pad in there, and they can regulate themselves from there. for the chickens, I have basically the same coop as this one, except fully insulated, so insulation all the way around. Except for along the top, I've got it open vented so that the airflow can come out, and then I have a heat pad in there. But so for the ducks, just some bales of straw lined around it is good enough. For the chickens, I actually have insulation in there, and so I put a sheet of plywood on the outside, insulation, and a sheet of plywood on the outside. That way they're not chewing at that insulation, because I use that rigid foam insulation. And so yeah, I sandwich it together so that they can't chew at it. And then Jamora said, that's a smart man, good to know. Yes, we got to take care of the animals. I mean, we spend too much time feeding them and giving them fresh water. The water, that's a hard one. So the water, we use heated water dishes. I live off grid, right? So I have solar panels, batteries, and a generator. That's how I power my house. And so you'll see this extension cord right beside me. So I run an extension cord out to their houses, and then from there, I plug in heated water dishes. They've got these plastic water dishes with a heat element under it. So you fill that with water, and then the heater keeps that thawed. But when it gets really cold, that still will freeze. And so I got to come out here like probably 3 times a day in the winter, dump the ice water, put fresh water in, and make sure they're drinking out of it. They will kind of peck at and lick and chew the surface ice before it fully freezes hard, but they need hydration, so you need to make sure that you are changing out that water often. We're gonna move back over to the cow. I want to go hang out with Gabby more in the barn. This is what I use for my feed shed. So this shed here is where I store all my animal feed. This is the brooder. So when the ducks are really little, you gotta have a spot for them that is fully walled in, insulated-ish, or at least a heater. I have a heat lamp there, and so that heat lamp, I'll lower it down to the top of the cage, and then I put their food and water right in there with a bunch of straw and wood chips. And the reason it's so long is that the baby ducks, they can go over to the heater when they're cold, but they can come to the other side when they're hot. And so they can regulate their temperature by getting closer or farther from the heat pad. And so until they're about 5 weeks old, that's when their outside feathers come in, they need a heat lamp. So especially up here. I mean, depends on your climate, right? I'm up here in northern Canada. And so in the north up here in the north, you need to have a heater. If you're down somewhere further in the States, that is not going to be an issue for you. So take what I say with a grain of salt based on where you live, if that makes sense to you. And I gotta get out of the light here. Finch says hi. Hi Finch, how you doing, buddy? Let's go hang out with the rabbits for a second. Let's go hang out with the rabbits. We've showed you guys the cow, we've showed you guys the ducks and the chickens. Let's go hang out with the rabbits for a hot minute. For those who are just joining, you guys missed a chicken eating a mouse, so that was kind of fun. We're gonna hang out with our, oh right, I was gonna say, was big main area where they were. Bear with me, I'm trying to close the gate. There's some bunnies. I have 3 different pens for my rabbits. So here are some of my bunnies right now. So what I have in this setup is I have this big area, this yard here, then I have a pen over there and a pen over here. These are about 6 feet by 6 feet. This one is 6 feet by 12 feet. And so when one of them gets dirty like this one and it needs to be mucked out, so this one, you can see how dirty it is. There's a chicken in there. That one needs to be fully mucked out. So you move them over. You move them to the other one. That way they can hang out here, have some nice, fresh, clean bedding, and then I can move them over there afterwards. And sorry, guys, we dropped out of Wi-Fi, so I know I lost some of you during that. It's a little bit rough. And Jamora says, in Hawaii, they just chillin'. Once again, Jamora says, I swear I could sleep outside all night because it's so nice, especially in the summer. Garcia says, how long have you been taking care of the ducks and chickens? So we've had ducks for, I guess we're on 2 years. And the chickens we got in April. I wasn't planning on doing chickens, but what ended up happening is one of my friends, their mom had gotten a bunch of chickens. Their mom was elderly. She then passed away just after getting the chickens. And emotionally, that was a little too stressful for the family. And none of them were particularly chicken people. And so they asked me if I would rehouse them for them. So I took over all the chickens for them. And yeah, it was, I like it because I got the chickens for free. They like it because they can still come visit them and they know that they're being well taken care of. And Ken Flo says, I have wild ducks in my yard, probably 50 meters off my porch. I have, way out there, a lake. And this morning out on the lake, there were about 50 geese. There was a lot of geese. The geese and the ducks come migrating through here. And so, yeah, basically in the fall, in October, my bay here has a bunch of wild rice. And the ducks come migrating through here. And there are times where there are thousands of wild ducks, thousands of mallards, bluebills, all sorts of ducks hanging out in that lake. It is fantastic. It is fascinating. Fun story about ducks in the lake. At one point, I had some Muscovy ducks. Now, I wasn't planning on having Muscovy ducks. Muscovy ducks are bred for meat. They get really big. Let me try to find a way to put you guys down so I don't have to hold you. The Muscovy ducks get really big. They have a red face, black body, and they can fly. I didn't know they could fly. Someone had 2 Muscovy ducks that they did not want. They wanted to rehouse them. They knew that I would be eating them. They were for food. They were for meat. But they didn't want them. And so they asked if I would take them from them. So I said yes. I already had ducks, so I figured it wouldn't be a big deal. So I took them. They were good with my ducks for about 3-4 days. And then on the 5th day, I came out in the yard and the ducks were gone. And I thought maybe they squeezed out under the gate. So I went looking in the forest. I couldn't find them out in the forest. I couldn't find them in the back forest. I spent about 3 days looking everywhere from, I thought, okay, well, they must have got scooped up by a fox or something. I lost those ducks. So now we're at about day 7. Come day 8, I see 2 big black things out in the lake. And so I hop in my canoe and I paddle over there. And there are the Muscovy ducks, my ducks. And so I paddle them to shore. Me and my wife spend like an hour trying to wrestle them. We finally catch them. We bring them back, put them with the rest of the ducks, make sure all the gates are sealed closed. Okay, the next morning, one of them's gone. Where'd it go? Then, about 2 hours later, I see the other one on the roof of the barn. Those buggers could fly. I had no idea they could fly. I thought that the ducks were kind of all the same. It was our first time doing ducks. I didn't know enough about them. And so they could fly. And so they would fly into the lake because the lake is where they want to be. And so it was hunting season. There were thousands of ducks out on the lake. My 2 big black ducks were out on the lake. People were wanting to go hunting out on the lake. And so I knew that these ducks were destined for someone's freezer. And I thought, if I've been feeding them for a week, they better be my freezer. And so I went and hunted them. And so, yeah, we had duck for supper. But just a fun little story about Muscovy ducks. They can fly. They're a lot harder to take care of because they can fly. I'm never going to do Muscovies again because they can fly. There you guys have it. Anyway, that is my little rant, my little rill. Anyone have any questions, any concerns? We're going to move back over. We'll say goodbye to the rabbits and we're going to go back over to the cow. So here are some bunnies just chilling, doing their thing. They got some fresh grass over there. They've got food over there. They got access to water. Everyone is happy. They're all just chilling. Anyone have any questions about bunnies before we move over to go see the cow? Any questions, any concerns, any plans for the week? Going once, going twice. So we're going to go hang out with the cow. Tora says, what happens if the ducks don't get hunted? With a population of ducks in the area, that is, they migrate. So ducks are migratory birds. So when you get thousands like that, they're just flying south for the winter. And so if I don't hunt them, they're just going to continue migrating south into America, into the States. So up here in Canada, we have 2 different types of hunting licenses. There's more than that, but you have a small game license for hunting things like wild pheasants, squirrels, wild rabbits, also known as hares, things like that. But when it comes to ducks and geese, you have to get what's called a migratory bird license. And that is a federal license because migratory birds cross borders. They cross provincial borders and Canada, US. And so you need a different type of license to hunt them. Just a fun little fact about that. And Jorn says, Hast de Verde. I have no idea what you said, my friend, but cheers to that. And so Gabby and the chickens are still just hanging out in the barn. The one kind of fun thing about free ranging your chickens, you find eggs everywhere. When you have your chickens just in a coop or a fenced in yard, it's a little easier to determine where the eggs are going to be. But because I let them free range, we find eggs in the barn. I'll find them in the roof rafters. I'll find them in the rabbit area. I'll find them just out in the field. Yes, we don't collect as many eggs as we would if we kept them secured, because there's random eggs that we're just never going to find, eggs that the dog is going to eat, eggs that are going to get stepped on by the cow. But it's a lot of fun just having eggs everywhere. And Garcia says, how do you live off grid? Well, the how is I've got some solar panels here, and in my garage is a generator, and I've got a bunch of batteries. And so we collect solar to recharge the batteries. If that's not enough, the generator comes on, boosts the batteries back up. Basically, you just have to be a lot more frugal with your power. I'm going to, up in the barn here, I haven't done it yet, but I've got a little bit of a hole cut out up there. I'm going to cut this out and frame in a window up there. And that way I have a window in the barn. So that is the plan up there, just for natural light. As far as heat goes, the barn is a relatively small size. This way, when the cows, I've got one cow right now, I've had up to 3 in here. I'm getting 2 more in the fall, but with 3 cows and my goats in here for the winter, all I do for here is I put on some thick fabric, and that's enough to keep the heat in. It's nice and toasty, nice and warm for them. Cows give off a surprising amount of heat. I mean, they are giant compost machines. Their bellies are composting all of that grass, which is then generating heat energy and dissipating. Fun fact, old school farmers back in the pioneer days, they would have their barn underneath their house. Their house would be above the barn, and that way all the heat from the cattle would radiate through the floorboards to warm the house. Fun little fact. So there's that. We're just really frugal with our lights. You're always turning your lights off when you leave. You're using LED high efficiency bulbs. You're trying to, run the water as little as you can. You're being mindful about the time. The well pump draws the most. Really, our freezers draw the most power, because I've got 4 freezers for all the meat we generate on the farm. So our freezers probably draw the most energy in the summer. In the winter, it's all our heated water dishes and our well pump. So like this guy here, this is an automatic waterer. So this is connected to my well, and there's a little float, like a toilet float in there. And so as the water level goes down, the float goes down, the water comes out. There's a heat element underneath here from freezing. And so that is always going. And so that is costing a lot of power. I heat my house with firewood. And so we have to keep the wood stove going all the time, but that way we're not using any power to heat the house. Does that kind of answer your question, my friend? And Mason says, have you ever fed them a steak? Fed who a steak? Have I ever fed who a steak? I've eaten steaks. We have processed 2 cows off of our property. We just did 4 pigs. We've done a few goats, but I prefer the goats for milk. So we try not to butcher goats on the homestead. More, we try to resell the males, and we keep all the females for milk. From the milk, we create cheese, yogurt, a couple different cheeses, and then, of course, milk for drinking. Tora said, I get concerned about the animals. The animals being harmed, that is. I don't eat animals. I want to get more understanding, though, about what the animals do, even to each other. And Tora says, I didn't know chickens could cannibalize each other. Yes, chickens are omnivores, meaning that they will eat both veggies and meat. And so, yeah. If a chicken, often what people do with chickens is if they're doing, say, rabbits for meat, they will take the leftover butcherings that they're not going to process, like the guts and stuff, and they'll feed them to the chickens because it's high in protein, high in vitamin C and other, iron, things like that. And so they'll feed that to the chickens. The chickens are meat eaters. As you guys saw, I don't know if you saw, Tora, one of my chickens caught a mouse on the start of this live stream and ate the mouse on live stream. So they are meat eaters. There's a chicken there. And so because of that, they're also insectivores, like they're omnivores. So they eat insects, they eat they'll eat like, they'll eat vegetables. If I put carrots and stuff out, they'll eat the carrots and lettuce. They like lettuce. And so, yeah, But the reason that you're going to get a more yellow egg from a homestead chicken versus a grocery store one is it's going to have more protein in its diet, and so it's going to develop more omega-3s. And so you're going to get a more yellow egg, which is actually more nutritious for you because it's got more vitamins in it, because it's got a more diverse diet. It's not just fed on pellets. We do feed our chickens layer grain, like a crumble. And so it's just kind of a well-balanced. It's got soy, it's got wheat, it's got oats, corn, all of that as a chicken feed. But they have access to that 24/7, but really they're doing a lot of their eating foraging for bugs. Foraging for bugs, and of course, things like mice. And Mason said, plants are living things too. Techno Viking said, that's not a chicken, that's a cat in disguise. I had a dream last night that my wife got a cat for the barn, and I was not impressed. I'm allergic to cats. That's the only reason one of the main reasons, I'm not gonna say the only, one of the main reasons we don't have a barn cat is because I'm allergic to cats. The second reason, if they've done a very good job and they've gotten rid of all of the baby mice, they will go after your baby bunnies. They will go after your chicks, your baby ducks, your baby chickens. And so for me, I'd rather not have a barn cat. They are very good killers, and if they do too good of a job and they run out of things to kill, they start going after your pets. I have a friend who got a barn cat and did not fix it, and it got pregnant and it had babies, and they did not fix them, and they got pregnant and they had babies. Next thing they know, they had way too many cats on the property, and they started going after their chickens, they started going after their ducks, and so they had to remove some cats from the property. And when you got feral cats on the property, it's not just bring them to the shelter. And so I don't want to go through that. That is not for me. I'd rather not be eliminating my pets. All of our animals here on the homestead that you're seeing, all of the ones that you're seeing are basically pets. These are our breeders. Gabby here is pregnant. The chickens are for eggs. We also hatch eggs. And so come the spring, we do a bunch of hatching. I have a video on live stream where a duck actually hatched from its egg during live stream. So that's pretty cool. And Cara Lucy says, wanted to spread some positivity. Hope your day is as wonderful as you are. Remember, you matter. Stay amazing. Hashtag heart slap. Ow. Hashtag heart sending love and positivity. What is a heart slap? That felt like it hurt right in my chesticle. I hope you are having a fantastic day, Cara. I am having a good day. It is beautiful out here. Welcome to my homestead. It is blue skies. It is sunny. The fields are looking fantastic. And I'm not complaining. A little windy, but I'm okay with that. We're having a fantastic live stream. We're having a good time. If you guys are having a good time like I'm having a good time, double tap the screen to give a thumbs up. The more thumbs up we get, the more people can come and find us. So give a thumbs up if you're enjoying what you see. I see at least one thumb going up, so thank you guys. I appreciate you. And Kara says, gorgeous, adorable moo-moo behind you. This is my dog. Her name is Gabby. She is a farm dog. Up here in northern Canada, the dogs get bigger. And so let's go say hi to our dog. It's a cow. Hi, Gabby. The people love you. The people love you, Gabby. She's chilling in here because it's hot today, so she just wants to relax. This is Gabby. She is a giant puppy, and she is very, very happy to be in the barn. Oh. This is Gabby. She's a good girl. Now, you do have to be careful around cows. Not every cow is going to be this nice and this kind. Gabby here is bottle fed. So we got her as a baby. We fed her from a bottle. We took really good care of her, and we spent a lot of time with her. And so she is a good girl. Now, her ex-husband, he was not as nice, and he tried to kill me, and so we ate him. But Gabby here, she's a good girl. You're a good girl, Gabby. We appreciate you and we like you. You're a kind cow. Words. My words didn't work. I called you a goat. Is that insulting? Is that an insult or a compliment? A goat can be a good thing, Gabby. A goat could be the greatest of all time. She is a good girl. I'm going to come over here for a second so that I can read the chat. I see I've got one message needing review. I think that's okay to say. Popeye, the love star, is saying, have a great day, daddies. And Mike Walsh saying hi. And Kara says, how far along is she? So she was bred in June. Was it June, July? July? She was bred in July, so we should have a baby in May. We should have a baby around May. So next spring, we will have a little baby Gabby. And Kara says, I used to be a vet tech. I loved working with cows. The only thing that's not fun about working with cows is if you got to do a intrauterine ultrasound. I can imagine that being a little less fun. Or helping deliver the baby might not be the most fun either. But they can be wonderful animals. The fun fact, guys, you do have to be a little bit careful around cows. There are more people who die to cattle than to sharks and lions combined per year. That being said, there are a lot of people who handle cows every day, so there's more likelihood of injury. And they can be unpredictable. Now, not all cows are the same. She is a gentle giant. Her companion was an aggressive bull. And so you do have to be mindful of their mannerisms. And just know that this is a 1,000-pound animal. If I'm having a good snuggle beside her and she decides to roll over, I'm going to get crushed. I am less than 1,000 pounds. And so if I want to have a snuggle with the cow, I got to be a little bit more mindful and careful about my body positioning. Especially if we're going to hang out with the cow. But she's a good girl. One thing that is a good sign is when you put your hand towards their head, you want them to kind of look away from you, because that means that they are not challenging you. They're not feeling threatened. They're being submissive. And so you want your cow to be submissive. If they start playing with you and headbutting you, that can develop into more aggressive behavior, and you want to nip that in the butt. Hey, Gabby. Oh, yes. Am I leaning too much on you? Are you wanting me to go bye-bye? Are you saying that you want some privacy? And Kara said, I used to snuggle with the horse. It got more difficult as he grew. Yes, and that's kind of part of the problem with a bull, a male cow that is bottle fed. My male cow was bottle fed. And so you spend every day bottle feeding them. The problem with this is they see you as potential competition, not necessarily the farmer, not necessarily the leader of the herd. You're basically their mom or their dad. And eventually the young bull wants to surpass the old bull. And so they can start getting aggressive. You get more violent bulls potentially out of bottle-fed bulls than you do out of herd bulls. Just a fun little fact for you. And so it was a mistake I made. The other mistake is when you bottle feed them, you grow really attached to them. You build a relationship with them. And so you don't want to give them a smack on the nose. You don't want to push them away. You want to be nice and gentle with them and love them. And so because of that, you don't nip those negative behaviors in the butt, and they can take advantage of you. And so that's kind of what happened with my bull. Fun fact, I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, and my back has been blown out for a long time. It was during an episode last winter when my back was really bad. I was in the barn in the middle of the night helping one of my goats have their baby. And my cow, he went out there. He didn't want to be near that, so he went out in the field. And when I came out of the barn after everything was done, he saw me. And let me back up a little bit. My back was thrown out for about 6 weeks at this point, and I had to come in here and clean the barn and take care of the animals. And when my back was thrown out, I was kind of hobbling around. And so when he'd come to play with me and start shoving me, normally I'd shove him back and I'd step away, and he was fine. But because my back was thrown out, I couldn't do that. I couldn't get away from him. And so he started getting used to being able to shove me. And then it started getting more aggressive. He'd start throwing bigger headbutts. He'd start kind of running at me a little bit. That night after helping the goat give birth, he saw me come out of the barn and he decided to try his luck, and he ran me from across the field and he hit me at about probably 15 miles an hour. He lifted me off the ground and sent me flying like 5 feet. My wife was there. She was watching. She was mortified. And my wife was 8 months pregnant. And I couldn't help but think, if that cow hit my wife the way he hit me, we would have lost the baby. And so I was seeing red. I was so mad at him for doing that. But that's not where it stopped. Not only did he hit me, When I was getting up, he turned around and ran at me a second time. And I managed to get out of the way, and he turned around and ran me a third time. Needless to say, 2 days later, he was at the butcher shop. I loved that cow. I took great care of that cow. I made some mistakes. I shouldn't have been near my bull when I had a bad back. I should have kept my distance. I should have been more mindful of that. Because I bottle fed him, I was naive. I wasn't as responsible as maybe I should have been. I let him get aggressive. And unfortunately, due to my, not teaching him a lesson, he attacked me, and he almost killed me. And so I ate him. And so we will not make that mistake again. We will not make that mistake again. But that doesn't mean that I can't still love my animals and spend good time with them and have some snuggles. Isn't that right, Gabby? Now, I do have to be a little more careful. I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, so I need to pay attention to how she's doing. I need to pay attention to her mannerisms, how she's feeling. If she starts getting fussy with me, we're going to have to get up and move out of the way. But Pablo, welcome back to the chat. Hello from Northern Canada to my friend in Chile. Pablo, welcome back. And Popeye had said, oh boy, oh, she's getting up, and so are we. Oh, okay, Gabby, I'll get off of you. It's time to get up. It's time to move. Like I said, I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, so if she starts fussing like that, it's time to give her some space. I'll give you some space. You can hang out in the background. I'm gonna go over there. Okay. We'll hang out over here because I don't want to get run over. We'll come back over here. Give her a little bit of space. She's getting a little antsy. She's got some ants in her pants. Her kind of coughing like that, they have two stomachs, and so she's trying to regurgitate some of the food she ate earlier. They call that cud, so she can re-chew it and re-eat it. It's how their stomachs work to break down the food. The first stomach has more acidity. It breaks down the food better, and then they, regurgitate and re-swallow it. And Popeye had said, Popeye, Love Star, love, enjoy Gabby. OMG, you and Gabby are gorgeous in Northern Canada. And Kara said, I adopted my horse from a friend. My horse's mother passed while giving birth. I had to bottle feed him. That is the tragedy of homesteading. You can lose either the mom, the baby, both, or neither. And so that's why doing this small scale is really tough. Up here in Northern Canada, it costs about $3,000 per cow to have a heifer, a year-old heifer. And so if you're going to breed her, you run the risk of losing your $3,000 investment based on them not surviving the birth. And so this is the main reason. If you have 100 cows and you lose one to a bad birth, it's devastating, but it doesn't hurt you financially as much. If you have one cow and you lose it to a birth, that is devastating financially. And Rob says, your knowledge made me subscribe. Rob, thank you. If you have any questions, any concerns, any plans for the week, feel free to ask, and I will tell you what to do. And we will go from there. I will be your life coach. I will be your friend. I will be your companion. I am here for it. We enjoy doing these live streams. We're out here 3 to 5 days a week on the homestead doing live streams with any of our various animals. Today I decided to hang out more with the cow and the ducks. But we've got the chickens and the goats. We had pigs. We are getting donkeys. We're getting more pigs in the spring. We're getting more cows in a month. And so we're always doing something out here. We're always building something. This is my next project for next year. I had delivered to my homestead the other day this 50-foot sea can. And so the plan with this 50-foot sea can, this big girl over here, I am going to straighten it out. Right now they had to drop it crooked, but I'll get a machine in here and we'll straighten it out. And then I'm going to build another barn and another lean-to for storage. So the goal with that is, let me put my coffee down because I got a hand talk. So I'm going to have the sea can running along the fence line, and then I'm going to build the roof line probably angled like this, right? So the sea can, and then the roof like this. I'm going to build off this side a barn with separate pens for more animals. Because we're going to be upgrading to 3 cows, we're going to be having a donkey, and we've got multiple goats. When the animals are giving birth or just need to be broken in, you need to have them in their own space. And so I never like kicking like a cow out of the barn so that I can lock a new cow in here to break it. So I want to have another barn so I can separate it off. The reason I'm saying the roof should be leaning like this with the sea can in the middle is the other side will be dry storage for all of my firewood. I heat my homestead with wood, and so I need to stack and store all my firewood dry. So if I do a lean-to style roof like this, I can double stack my totes and still get in with my machine and lift them. If I do a traditional barn, I can only single layer it. I won't be able to stack them because I'll hit the roof. So that's why I'm thinking it's got to be a leaning roof. And then I'm going to have that to store under shelter the kids' quads and dirt bikes and my riding lawnmower and my skid steer and some of my tools. The inside of the sea can will kind of be like my workshop. I'm going to move all of my gas-powered tools out of my normal garage and into the sea can. I'll build some shelving in there and have a workbench in there. So that'll kind of be my happy space. I'll put some windows, some doors, some ventilation in there. I'll build lighting. We are going to deck that sea can out. It's like 8 feet wide, 9 feet tall. It's a beautiful structure. Lots of room to have some fun in there. And Rob said, just bought a house in South Georgia. A close friend recommended a bull and 2 cows. So bulls are tough. I did it. I had a bull and 1 cow. I would say feasibility wise, if you're not just doing it for the companionship, but you're doing it for the feasibility, a bull makes sense when you get up to about 7 cows. When you only have 2, what happens is you should keep, well, it's a little different up here because of the temperature. You can't breed for a winter birth. You need the birth to be in the spring. So you have to separate a bull out for part of the year, which means separate fencing, separate enclosure. And then when you introduce them to the ladies, if there's not enough ladies, they tend to get a little rowdy because they want to service all of the ladies. And when you only have 1 or 2, the lady kind of says no. And then the bull gets agitated because he wants to do his thing. And he might take that agitation out on the farmer. Something to keep in mind. Not always, but it does happen. In my opinion, what I do with her right now is I just put her in a trailer and I bring her to another farm and I leave her with the other farm for a month. That make sure she gets pregnant, and then I bring her back. I tried the whole bull thing and he tried to kill me, so I ate him. And Kara said, it is a relief seeing other people who have these beautiful large animals being knowledgeable. I subscribe to. Thank you, Kara. Too many people get these animals because they are cute, but don't know the effort. My thing, what I try to do on the homestead is I get 1 new type of animal per year. That's the goal anyway. I don't want to take on more than I can chew. Every animal needs infrastructure. You need to house them. They need access to water. They need ample food. So it's a lot of fencing. It's a lot of work. You got to be hauling food in. You need to make sure your buildings are adequate. Enough space, enough room for them to roam around. I've got multiple fields. And so, yeah, it's a lot of work. I see too many people get a horse right away, get a donkey right away, get cows right away, get ducks, rabbits, chickens, and it's too much. They get overwhelmed, they get burnt out, and next thing you know, they're selling off and eating their animals. So you got to take it easy. You got to enjoy it. And just a dude said, leaning like the tower. Popeye says, OMG, your show is gorgeous. It's brought back my childhood memories of my pet cow and calf and pig, lamb, goat, horse, dogs, and cat. Buster said, I swallowed a whole 2x4 with my yo-yo cheeks. Good for you, my friend. That is impressive work. Now, the real question, how long was the 2x4? Just a dude said, did it give you splinters? Cheers. You know, a 2x4 is impressive, but if it's half an inch long, it's less impressive than 8 feet. Anyway, on that note, this is my cow. This is Gabby. Hi, Gabby. There's a chicken hanging out behind her. There's a chicken. All the other chickens and goats and stuff are out and about. My goats are out by the house. I let my goats free range. Alaska Critter Cam diving back into the chat said, I just had a link stop by the farm. It is looking good. Guys, I just had a link stop by, period. The farm is looking good. Guys, go check out Alaska Critter Cam if you guys like bush cam footage in Alaska. They've got some amazing footage that they post of lynx, of moose. I don't know what other animals you've had, but I love the moose footage and I love the lynx footage. So if you guys like bush camera footage, go check them out. And anyone else, I know we got a good crowd here tonight. First, double click that screen to give it a thumbs up. That's going to let more people know we're hanging out. And second, if anyone else here has a YouTube channel, if anyone who's watching has a YouTube channel, now's your chance. Tell us about it. I want to hear it. Alaska Critter Cam has a channel. Go check them out. Anyone else, if we have anyone else watching who has a YouTube channel. Whether you've got a goal of being monetized, you already are monetized, or you just do it for fun and you want people to know about it, this is your stage, this is your audience. Feel free to let us know. Otherwise, we are just hanging out with the animals. We were having a good sit with Gabby, but Gabby was getting a little bit, she's warm, she's hot. She didn't want the snuggles. And so she told me to get off and I listened. And so now we're just hanging out over here. And Poppy Tool says, OMG, your life is fun and dangerous and exciting. And dangerous love. Enjoy your farm and your family, friends, and relatives together, darlings. Congratulations. Thank you, Poppy. I appreciate you. And Crow says, I tried to catch fog once, but I missed. I thought I was misreading that. That's a good one. That is a good one. And Alaska Critter Cam said, come check out the animals. It is a beautiful day out here, guys. I cannot complain in the slightest. We have a third salt block going in here. I've got 3 salt blocks that the animals have no shortage of access to food. My wife just brought this one back, and I have no idea why she did because I already had 2 of them. But one of the things you should be doing if you have animals like this is you should be providing them with access to salt and other minerals. You get these mineral blocks, these giant salts. They've got some iron in them. They've got some vitamins in them and salt, of course. The salt is really good for them. You just leave it out for them. The animals come, they lick it, and it's also good for hunting. Deer love salt. And so if you want to bring deer into your property, 2 things, alfalfa and salt. If you throw a bale of alfalfa in a field and you throw a block of salt, within a couple days, you're gonna have deer out on that block. It's a great hunting tip. Last year, when I went hunting on the homestead here, I put feed out on Tuesday. I set my tree stand up on Wednesday, and I harvested 2 deer on Saturday. It did not take long at all. And so, just my thoughts, just my 2 cents or my 4 cents. And Alaska says, she looks comfy in there, chilling in the hay. Yes, we put some fresh hay out here. She is having a jolly good time. She is relaxing, chillaxing, having a little snack on some leftover cud. She's been out. I let her out in my other field there. She spent the day out in this field and out in the back. And so she was just loving eating all the fresh grass. And now she is having a digestion day. Her second stomach is doing its job. She's regurgitating all of that hay, chewing it back down, and swallowing her up. She is a happy, full camper. And also, it's a hot day out here, so the barn provides a lot of comfort. It's probably 10 degrees cooler in the barn than it is out there. It's really nice in here. The walls are kind of double insulated because I've got lean-tos off of both sides. And then the roof has the plywood, asphalt shingles, and metal roofing. And so it's pretty well insulated. I've got this big, beautiful opening right here, so there's some nice airflow coming in here. Yeah, she's a happy camper. Poppy says, love, enjoy your favorite people on your show. Finally found happy and fun, interesting people. Peoples together of humanity together, darlings. Congratulations, darlings. Poppy, where are you from? You're doing a fantastic job typing in the English, but I can tell it's not your first language. Poppy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, my friend? The coffee is fantastic today, guys. We are going to be going into town in a little bit. We probably have about 10 more minutes that we can stream, and then I got to go to town. I need to pick up my loop order, which is expired groceries. And when I say expired, it doesn't mean that they're bad. What it means is on Mondays, the local grocery store rotates their produce. And so everything they pull off their shelf, rather than throwing them in the garbage, they then contact me and I go and pick up. Now, I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, so I'm going to have to go get a buddy, and my buddy's going to help load my truck. I can't bend, lift, or twist very well right now. I need to be very careful. And so after 6 weeks, I should be more myself. But we got to go pick that up. So I'll probably end the stream in about 10 minutes. But while we got a good crowd here, we can continue having a fantastic conversation. And just a dude said, I'm going to start a hamster farm. There is a noticeable lack of hamster milk in the market. I have had that same thought, except instead of hamsters, I was thinking pigs. I'm like, bro, The pig's got 12 udders. Where's all that pig milk going? Why can I not go to the grocery store and buy me some pig milk? You know, I got goat milk. I got cow milk. You know what? Just a dude, we're going to have to team up and we're going to start the hamster and pig milk market. We are going to capitalize on that investment. Cheers to business partners. We'll talk later. We'll talk later about that hamster and pig milk. Another interesting question. Can you milk a snake? Maybe we got to think about that one. And Poppy says, Poppy's from Northland, New Zealand. It's spring headed for summer. We are in New Zealand. Well, cheers, my friend. I have a friend from New Zealand. He actually worked for me for a while. He's recently retired. And he called me this morning and I had a chat. So it's a small world. You're here from New Zealand and my buddy from New Zealand called me for a phone chat this morning. So cheers to a small world and just a dude. Cheers to new business ventures. You never know what we're going to talk about on a live stream. Are we going to talk about chickens fertilizing each other? Are we going to talk about milk and hamsters? Are we just going to talk about my cow? We never know what kind of stuff we're going to get into. Earlier this live stream, if you guys want to check out the replay, my chicken caught a mouse and ate a mouse on live stream. So that was cool. There's always something fun and exciting going on. This is why I like live streams. It's unscripted, it's unplanned, and it's just a bunch of people getting into some shenanigans. And if I can help it, keeping it family friendly and just rated PG, good for the whole family. It's a fun time out here. Usually, lately, I've been hanging out with the animals because of my back injury. Often, we're out here doing barn builds. We're out doing some work. Usually, my wife gets a little agitated when I'm live streaming doing work because I get about 10% done of what I normally would. If I'm out here splitting firewood, not on live stream, I'll split an entire cord of wood, 8 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet in an hour. If I'm live streaming, it's like half a cord if I'm lucky in 2 hours. But we got to have fun. This is not all work and no play. So, you know, it's about having a good time. It's about socializing with you guys and the animals and just having a good time and enjoying the experience. I find too many people who get into homesteading and farming get so caught up in the work that they forget to have fun. And this is a fun lifestyle. I love hanging out with the animals. I love just seeing what they're doing, interacting with them, reading their mannerisms. Gabby, when she's in the back fields, if I yell and call for her, she comes running to me. It's beautiful. I love it. And I think sometimes people get caught up in the workload and they forget to enjoy it. So if you guys ever think about doing this lifestyle or have done it or want to get back into it, just remember, it's fun. Enjoy it. It's work, but it's fun. And Tora says, do you do agriculture or just animals? So next year, I plan to go bigger into gardening. I let my pastures just grow and my animals free range the pastures. I don't harvest my pastures. I only have about 30 acres of field, so it's not really enough to bother investing in all the equipment to hay my own fields when my animals are going to eat about 50% of it anyway. So I just let my animals free range. As far as actual food goes, I did some tomatoes, some garlic, and I planted some apple trees, plum trees, pear trees, and elderberry bushes. So I planted those, started an orchard. Right now I'm collecting all the soiled straw and I'm composting it all. I've got a giant compost pile going. And so next year I plan to make a very large garden. This year though, I needed to focus on tightening up things with the barns and the duck house and the log cabins and fencing and just getting all my infrastructure done and finished for the animals. Next year we'll go bigger into gardening. It's a little more work when you've got free range chickens and free range goats and stuff. You need to fence in all your gardens. So it takes a little bit more work. And Alaska Critter Cam said, I like milk from cows. Everything else is just okay. But dang, do I like to cook goat. Just made butter chicken with the goat. Yum. I don't think it's called butter chicken with goat or with goat milk. Because I don't think you call it butter chicken if it's goat. I think it's butter goat. And the goat milk, it depends on the type of goat. So my Alpine Toggenburg has like a 0% butter fat in her milk. And so her milk doesn't taste very good because it's skim milk. It's 0% fat. So I like to use that for yogurt and cheese. With yogurt, you can add honey, you can add sugar, you can sweeten it up. With cheese, you can add herbs and garlic and stuff and make a really nice cheese. Now, my mini Nubians, they produce like a 5 to 7% cream milk. And so it's like creamer. And so I drink their milk straight. I don't turn that into cheese. If I want to, if I'm getting too much milk from my Alpine Toggenburg, I'll mix it with my mini Nubian to kind of thin it out a little bit so it's less sweet. But it's really good on its own, the mini Nubian. So different, just like different cows produce different qualities of milk, it's the same with goats. Just something to keep in mind. If you've had goat milk and you decide you didn't like it, maybe it was the type of goat milk you had. And Poppy says, you got a fun life and universe together with the others and together, darlings. And Alaska said, dude, peace. And IU Hosier said, bleh. And Alaska Critter Cam said, yep, butter goat. And IO, or low, I can't tell if that's an IO or a LO, but I'm going to go with IO. IO says, I was thinking of getting a goat, but the city doesn't allow it. Do you think it'll pass for some rare Central Asian shepherd dog? If you're really crafty about it, so you can do what's called, I believe it's called debudding. You can remove their antlers. You do it when they're young. I don't do that. I've never done it. Or you can get an antlerless goat. I guess not antlers, it's horns. You can get a hornless goat. If you got a goat that had no horns, for sure, man. Let me show you my goats. Let's go take a walk. They are like little dogs, and nobody can tell me otherwise. They come when you call them. They listen. They just want pets and head scratches. They are no different than a dog. Other than the fact that, you know, you can milk them and nobody says it's weird. It'd be weird if you milked your dog. But these are my goats over here. I've got a couple different kinds, and they are just like little puppies. Maple over here is probably going to get up because she's a little more skittish because she's half fainter goat. There's Maple. But look at little Evie here. Look at little Evie and tell me that look, her tail's wagging. She's excited that we're here. She's got a dog collar on, for crying out loud. You can't tell me that this cute little girl is not just like a puppy. They like head scratches. Hi, girl. Come on, guys. That right there, that's a dog. They're all dogs. Look at this. This is just a bunch of dogs. I think you can get away with it. And this guy, look, no horns. That just looks like a weird dog, man. He's got a collar on it. Put a collar on it. Put a leash on him. Take him for walks. Don't let him lick other goats' private areas. And look at that. Look at that. He looks like a dog. That totally could pass for a dog. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, Io. You go for it. I believe in you. I believe in you. They are just like little puppies. We're going to turn our Wi-Fi back on. Hopefully I don't lose you, but I want to turn the Wi-Fi back on since we're over by the Starlink now. And yeah, so here are goats. We've moved into goat territory. So here we are, little puppies, little puppies. Arguably, the goats have the potential to be better behaved than the dog. You know, you can actually house train goats. Fun fact. I never have, because why would I? I got property. But I've had my goats give birth in the house when they're little. Bast, wherever Bast is, one of my goats, I actually raised him in the house for the first like 6 weeks. He was born in the winter when it was too cold for him, so I raised him in the house. So like they definitely could pass as little dogs. And Io says it is an I. And thanks, man. I was hoping it'll blend between my dog and people won't notice. Just don't let them pet. When people come up to come pet your dog, just say, he's aggressive, stay away. I got you. Maybe put a little muzzle on him when you're out walking in public and people won't know. They might think it's a weird dog. I think it'll pass. I think you got this. And Poppy says, I'm the only city slicker in a farming community going country poodle, hairy cringe, poodle goat, puppies. And Y9845 says, where do you live? We are up here in northern Canada, up towards Hudson's Bay. And Io says, my dogs are big and scary. They usually cross the street. Hopefully they don't cause any damage or harm. That's all I can say to that. My dog Lily is somewhere else. Lily! Lily! Where are you, Lily? Come here, Lily Beans. Lily tends to stay a little bit away from the goat. Oh, here she is. She was under the house. Here's Lily. Oh, hi, Lily. What do you think? Are the goats dogs? Do you think the goats are other dogs? Oh, this is Lily. Lily's a good girl. She's my goat dog. They're dogs and she's a goat. Lily here, she's a good girl. She saved all my chickens and ducks the other day. The other day, a weasel came onto the farm, and weasels can be very vicious. Weasels can come in and they'll eat all of your chickens. They'll kill them all. They don't even eat them all. They just kill them all. And so they're vicious predators. You wouldn't think of it, but this weasel was maybe a foot long, like 4 or 5 inches thick. It was a big freaking weasel, and Lily actually caught the thing and ate it. And kudos to Lily, because she saved the farm. She did her job. And yes, she's adorable. She's adorable unless she's in the process of eating a weasel. And Pablo says, "Qué hermosa perrita tienes." I wish I knew your language. If anyone can translate that for me, I would appreciate. Devin said, "That's Karma, brother." And Max says hi. Luke says hi. And Devin says hi. Welcome back to the chat, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Monday. We are coming up on 90 minutes. I know you guys just joined, and we're gonna have a quick chat here. I'm probably gonna end the stream in about 5 minutes because I gotta run to town, and this has been a fantastic stream. So let's talk for the last 5 minutes before I gotta go. Devin said, "How's it going today?" The weather looks beautiful. It's a little windy, but it is fantastic out here. Beautiful sun. You know, you can see my white pine tree just kind of blowing in the wind. But it's a beautiful day. Without the wind, it'd almost be too hot. So kudos. And Io said, he said, "Such a pretty dog you have." Thank you, Io, for the translation. And thank you, Pablo, for complimenting my dog. And Radamak says, "Hi." Poppy says, I've noticed Lily's Bing. She's gorgeous. Kudos to Lily Bean. I call her Lily Beans sometimes. Lily Beans, because she's a little bit aloof. And Kareem says, "Can you show us the lake behind you?" I absolutely can. Welcome to White Pines Homestead. If you're new here, consider subscribing if you like what you see and you want to see more. This is my, it's really windy right now, so I want to stay back here so we're out of the wind. But welcome to my lake. Welcome to my lake. I'm actually on a peninsula, and so my lake goes all the way around behind, all the way past the far fields way back there. There's only one way in and out of the property, and unless you come by boat. And Julian Sai says, "Hello, how are you, bro?" We are doing fantastic. Thank you for joining the chat. And Devin said, "All good, brother. I'm on vacation. And happen to be scrolling. Always love your streams, whether I catch them or not." Well, thank you, Devin. I appreciate you being here. And Io says, "How cold are the winters where you are? Do you get much snow or is it dry?" It gets to minus 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Super cold. The pipes freeze. The water dishes for the animals freeze. We got to be out here all the time. It is nasty. Because it gets so cold, we don't get as much snow as some of the further south places. We'll get like 3 feet of snow. So the snow gets pretty deep, but because it's so cold, there's a big period of the winter where it's too cold to snow. And so at least there's that. And Devin says his streams are always great. If you're new to each stream is a little different. And Poppy says, "You got a beautiful, magical wonder of nature, the life universe together of humanity." Julian says, "Hello from Indonesia." Tanja says, "Where are you located?" We're in northern Canada up towards Hudson's Bay. So far north, pretty cold. Matthew says, "Hi." How you doing, Matthew? We are coming up on 90 minutes, so we're gonna stick around for another minute. If anyone has any dying questions that you wanna know, please ask now. If you have any questions that you haven't had a chance to ask and maybe wanna ask next time, subscribe. We're streaming 3 to 5 days a week, a little more right now. We've been streaming a little more right now because I'm off work right now because I had a spinal surgery. And so I'm taking maybe another week off work. And so we're streaming a little more often. So consider subscribing if you guys want to continue this conversation. If you want to chat again later, feel free to subscribe. And Tommy says, hello from Spokane, WA. Is that Washington, my friend? And Matthew says, how long have you had live where you live? How long have I had live where I live? How long have I lived here? I've been here for 2 years. And Poppy says, we just got frost for us, darlings. And we had frost last weekend, and then all of a sudden it heated right back up. I had the wood stove going for Saturday, Sunday last week. It was super cold, and all of a sudden it's been beautiful out. Devin said, how long do you have left to prepare for the winter? I have seen you for a lot of other streams. Is the generator ready? So far, the generator seems good. I've got some firewood going. I'm not quite done yet. So I've got 2 totes over there. I got some more logs to cut there. But I also have all this firewood I've prepared over here. The tough thing is that I had spinal surgery 3 weeks ago, and so I can't do any bending, lifting, or twisting. And so we're a little behind. So I've got all of this firewood, 1, 2, 3 cords of firewood. I need 10. So I've got 3 out of 10 cords. So I'm only 30% ready. Normally I'd be ready by now, but spinal surgery put me back. We're going to be cutting wood right into when the snow falls. So we'll be a little, it is what it is. And Tora says, thank you so much again for sharing your knowledge. Please have a good rest of your day. Tommy says, yeah. Marlene says, hello from Portugal. Matthew says, hi, I'm from Pennsylvania State. Poppy says, we get heaps of rain. Devin said, that's rough, bro. You can't do much. Nancy Blair says, what lake is that? I can't tell you. If I told you, I'd have to remove you. This is my kind of private lake, and I'm up towards Hudson's Bay. So if I told you what lake it was, you'd be able to find out where I live, because I'm like the only guy here. And I'm not ready to be that personal with you just yet. We haven't gone out for dinner yet. You haven't bought me flowers, and so I'm not ready to take you home just yet. One day, Nancy, you subscribe, you stick around, and one day we will get there. Devin said, do you have anyone that can help a little? My wife. My wife has been a rock star. My 5 children, they've been a rock star. While I've been healing, my family's been doing an awesome job. My wife's been a little overwhelmed, so she's been a little stressed out, but I can't blame her. I can't do the farm chores because my back is thrown out right now. I'm not allowed to lift, bend, or twist for 6 weeks. We're only at week 3, so we still got a little healing to do. I saw the surgeon last week. He told me I gotta take it easier than I am. I have a hard time listening. So yeah, my wife has been a rock star though. Mason says, do you fish? Usually more in the spring. We've done a few fishing live streams. On live stream, I caught 10 fish on one stream one time, so that was fun. And Devin says, let him have his piece. Radamax says, how old are you? 33, triple threes, my friend. And with that, we have been live for 92 minutes and 52, 53, 54 seconds. Nancy, I had what's called a discectomy. Between my L4, L5 vertebrae, my disc, I crushed it 13 years ago, and it's been getting worse and worse. A couple months ago, it fully ruptured and it cut off feeling to my L5 nerve. So I lost use of my right leg. My full right leg, I lost all feeling to it. And so they had to do an emergency surgery called a discectomy. They came in, they took about 30% of that disc, cut it out of my back, removed it, and that took the pressure off that nerve. And so I got most of the feeling back in my leg. So kudos to them. And now we're just on that healing journey. Poppy says, thank you for a fun life in Northern Canada. And Devin said, yeah, she has a lot of extra things on her plate. She is solid. Once you're healed, you'll be able to get at it hard again. Music Man says, I recommend a back brace if you don't have one. It really helps. We'll see how I heal. So far, things are healing well. So we'll just cross that road when we get there. But maybe I should keep that in mind. I did buy a skid steer so that one of the hard things on my back is all this firewood because I heat the home exclusively with firewood. So I bought a tracked skid steer so that I can drag the trees out of the bush. I can lift them with the skid steer. I can cut them at a good height and really save myself all that bending over. So yeah. And Devin said, that's crazy. Boof said, ouchie. How did you originally crush the disc 13 years ago, if you don't mind me asking? I'm Canadian, so of course I heard it playing hockey. Crazy thing, it wasn't even professional hockey, it was hockey with the boys. I was on a breakaway. I'd done this 1,000 times. I shot at the net, didn't get the goal, and just the way I stopped against the boards, and I was going too fast. I stopped poorly, and it just crushed my back. Just a fluke accident. And Io says, are there farms that keep deer? So there are farms that I guess do reindeer or caribou, but as far as whitetail deer, nobody farms deer up here. They're really hard to domesticate. They can jump over 6-7 feet, so you need really tall fencing. They don't really listen. They're easily spooked and skittish. You can domesticate them somewhat by routine feeding them. But as far as I'm aware, nobody around here does domesticated deer as a farm. In fact, I think they're considered wildlife and it's illegal up here to keep them as pets. So the answer, no, but lots of people hunt them. We hunted 2 of them off our property last year. And Devin said, that's some of the best heat for your kind of wet winter. Devin said, yeah, that's all it takes. Just hanging with the boys and getting hurt. I broke a pinky toe wrestling with a friend when I was like 8. I crushed my big toe just goofing off. Completely shattered it. My big toe looks demented. It's awful. And that was when I was probably 14, 15. And I had my doctor look at it once, and he basically told me, you're gonna need surgery one day, but for now, don't bother. When it becomes unbearably painful, call me. So far, so good. It's just ugly. On that note, that lovely note of crushing toes and breaking backs, we're going to end this live stream because we got things to do and people to see. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. Last chance, give a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. And we will talk again. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. For those who are new, welcome. For those who are returning, thank you for joining us. We will chat again later. Take care. And yeah, happy Monday.